enjoy my nice background. Yeah. Hello, my name is Anna. Welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to show you everything behind X-Reid Norway, Salmon X-Reid Norway. It was a competition. It was a race, an ultra race, and it was 125 kilometers with 7,500 meters plus of elevation, so it was tough. It was in the Norwegian mountains, but I also made another video on another thing on that race, but I'm coming to that later. I charged everything, ate a pizza. I have a funny story time from that. I was going to eat pizza and then they didn't find the vegan cheese, so they were like, do you want the money back? And I was like, yeah, but can I boil some water because I have noodles in the fridge? And they were like, what? They didn't have anywhere to boil water, so I was like, ooh, like this, and almost started crying, but I didn't. And then I was like, okay, let's solve this problem, let's be creative with solving the problem. And then I went to the store, bought like a boiler and a bowl, and then I went back and was like, okay, problem kind of solved. My brother said to me that they found cheese and that they were starting to make a pizza for me too. And then I went back to the pizza place with like a boiler and a big bowl, like a big ass bowl. But then after I tried to hold back a lot of tears, I returned the boiler and the bowl and got my 400 krona back. And now I'm really tired, as you might see, but I'm just trying to get tired so that I fall asleep fast. It's competition day. Whoa. I actually slept all right. I tried staying awake like really long because then I would get tired and fall asleep like directly, because otherwise my brain would just go off and then I wouldn't be able to sleep all night. So I maybe got some hours, at least I think maybe 6 hours, and that's better than 0 hours. But I slept kind of light though, but it's good anyway. Now I'm just preparing for everything. I think I'm ready. My race ID on the page, it says the other name, so, and they promised to change it, but I think they have a lot to do, so that's probably why. But they will change it today, I hope. I had to change the name on the number shield, so that was kind of sad. So now I just have to pack all my things and we'll see how heavy it gets. So you wanna pack with me? I have this waterproof bag where I will put like things that I hope I don't need and more things, but the things I hope I don't need I will put in the bottom, like my first aid kit, the things that doesn't need to be easy accessible. At least I can have all the electronics in here, so that's good. My lamp, I figured out that I don't need an extra battery for my lamp because it's like dark for 20 minutes. It's not even dark, it's just like a bit darker, so that I might need my headlamp, but it's not 100% sure. I think this is really interesting. I hope you don't get bored. I can't decide if I should bring my camera or not. My brother, he's going to just film a lot outside of the race. But I don't know if I should bring the tiny one or not, or if I should just enjoy the race myself. And you don't get any footage, but it will be so nice, and I will wish that I had a camera, you know. My pizza story time yesterday, I put it on my Instagram with that picture. I'm so funny. Electronics ready to go. Oh, this is a jacket and it's like this tiny. All the pants and stuff will be in the bag underneath because I don't think I'll need it, but you never know. This is the GPS. to track me. Here's one like SOS button. I missed the Zoom meeting yesterday because of the pizza and I couldn't think clearly. Like this is going to be on the top of the backpack. This is for the first third. Yeah. Hats, windproof hats. I'm not going to use it, but you had to have it with you. My sunscreen, easy accessible. I made a sunscreen emergency bag. I made these maps. I like drew in all the way. It's 1 to 50,000. Then I have this. It says like turn left, turn right. It's cards. And then I can just change them around in this orienteering thing. I have everything under control. Bottles, I'm going to fill it with sugar and salt. Poles. My poor backpack is like filled to its maximum capacity. Noodles for breakfast. Yeah, it's a vibe. Here I have 500 grams of sugar. Väldigt bra. Förberett. Nå har du bytta.
Er du ikke Lisa Blom längre?
Nej, men det är liksom crafty nummerlapp.
Ja.
Väldigt gött.
Ser väldigt buff ut den.
Ja, så jag måste gärna klara att stänga den. Det kan bli lite vanskligt.
Den är på max på.
Den är på max, ja. Jag har klart det för jag har ett sånt sovmöte. Håller du på att koppla ut? Eller går det rätt?
Mm.
Du kopplar ut, vi ser.
Copyright.
Fin utsikt. Nice view. Kan Anna bära här uppe kanske? Nej.
Nej. Jag har ingenting. Tack.
Aha. Intervju kommer, vänta lite bara. Här har vi Anna. Here we have Anna. What was the close call?
I almost died.
What happened?
There was almost a lady that fell on me and I would be dead.
Oh shit.
We went the wrong way.
Aha.
Tusen tack! Du har några andra.
Arrivederci. Bye bye.
So I entered this race pretty late. It was spots, but I'm also really bad at the technical stuff. So I had problems with entering the competition, but then suddenly one person sold her spot to the race, so I bought her spot, so I got it a lot cheaper. My grandparents live in the area where the race went off, so it was amazing. It was like meant to be. It was a lot of preparations for this race because I needed to get the file to work in the GPS. I needed all the equipment that I need for the race, and I also wanted a map that I put plastic and then in this machine that makes it like plastic, you know. And it was a lot of fun doing the preparations too, so that was good. I also needed to learn how to run with poles, but it was no problem actually. I'm skiing and stuff in the winter, so I'm kind of used to poles, and it wasn't that bad. I started the race and it was really hot. It was like 30 degrees, 29 degrees in the shadow and we were on the top of a mountain where the sun was like boiling us. The first 2 kilometers was flat asphalt, and my coach told me to walk that bit, and I did. I ran like the first maybe 200 meters just to get out of the town where people were like cheering and stuff, but I ran really slow in the end of the field, so I was like lost. And then I started walking immediately, even though I didn't need to, and that was super good because I think that otherwise I would go out too hard and probably the heat would be a lot worse than it came out to be. The first like 2 hours it was just climbing up to the top of a mountain, so that was the first 2 hours, and then it turned down. We went down the mountain, a bit up, and it was like a lot of walking. I think I walked the first 2 hours, I guess. Then I started running a bit, and then it was like up the next mountain, and then it was running a bit, and then I couldn't run anymore because it was like a lot of stones and stuff. I ran like in total 20k out of 63. I'm coming to that later, why I didn't run the whole race. After like 25k, I think it was 25k, we were climbing up this free climbing wall. It was like free climbing, but it was as easy as when like you could have normal shoes, and everyone should be able to climb that wall, even though it was like scary. I was breathing heavily. And then I continued climbing. I had a near-death experience. I'm linking that somewhere here. And that was a lot. I was like kind of in shock after that experience, but I still continued to the first cut off thing, like where they cut you off. CP1 it was called. I filled up all my food and stuff, and I was like, I think I used like 10.5 hours to the first cutoff, and then I continued all night, so it got pretty dark like after 1 hour. So cool experience in the night. It was super dreamy, you know, so I was totally by myself because I don't know, I just ran by myself all the time. After the first cutoff it got even more technical in the terrain. It was like no paths after a while, so we just ran there, just followed the GPS, and it was like this long like uphill with blueberries that were this high and just stones everywhere, like big rocks. I continued up the mountain. It was so dreamy. Then it started storming, and it rained from like underneath. The problem was though that I had a hard time eating in the night. Like after running all day and then eating in the night, I have like started in the night and eating in the night, like just that part. But eating all day, eating all night, it was too hard to eat in the night. So I tried my best, but I felt like my energy got lower and lower and I ran slower and slower. I came to like this road and many people quit after that road, and I continued because it was like a road that where you could DNF. But I continued over one mountain, then down, and it was like a lot of rocks and you had to like jump from rock to rock, and I felt like the lack of energy made me like stupid, so I did like stupid mistakes on the rocks. And it wasn't like steep falling, but it was still like 1 meter falling when you fell down the rocks. And I was like, this is kind of bad. And then I continued over the next mountain. I continued for 11 and a half hours. And then I was like, you know what? I looked at the map, I saw that the road was like this, and then here you could DNF. I continued over the mountains and stuff, and then we went down here. And the road was like 500 meters from where I were, and I was like, you know what? This is kind of dangerous. I was also a bit like in shock after the near-death experience. I felt like it was too dangerous. It wasn't like worth it, because I knew that after that part it would be a really technical part along the fjord. I looked at the watch and I figured out that I wouldn't make it to the second cut off anyway because it was so technical at the fjord. So I took the opportunity to just quit instead of continuing for 9 more hours, because that's what it would have been. Yeah, so I wouldn't make it to the cut-off time in time. I would be like 2 hours late anyway, because I had to walk so much. So I just quit like 5, 6 in the morning, something like that. It was fine, and they picked me up. We started the journey home, and then another man wanted to quit, so we had to turn back up and get him. So it wasn't just me that quit, so that felt it felt better. I think that in the race it was like almost 50% that DNF'd, so it's really tough. It was one of Norway's toughest races, and I'm proud of myself for just making it that far. I didn't have that many expectations in the beginning because I didn't know how hard the race was. I was like, I think you can make it in 25 hours if the elite can make it in 18. And the maximum time was 36 hours, so I thought maybe I could do it, but I also had in mind that it could be harder than I thought with the terrain and stuff, so I wasn't going to be disappointed if I didn't make it. So right now I'm like pushing the bar on 3 meters, don't make it. Then I'm like, okay, maybe I can do 4 meters, don't make it. And then I'm like, okay, we put it on 6 meters, let's go. I maybe have another race later where like there's 3 people through history that made it. It's like a Barkley thing. It's not Barclays, but it's like similar. We will see. That's like the 6 meter bar, and then I will jump. At least I try, you know. So yeah, sometimes I'm like putting down the bar on 1 meter and jumping, and I can do it, but I like to go sky high. So thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video. It was really fun. I recommend doing it, but be careful in the mountains. Please watch the near-death experience if you want to learn something before you go out on this kind of race. I made that video so that more people could learn and not do the same mistakes as I do. And if you want to take 1 second to subscribe, that would make my day, and it means so much for me, just you clicking 1 click. So if you want to make my day, do that, and maybe leave a like too. And be a bird!